On the contrary to what everybody believes, I'm not as interesting of an individual as everybody thinks. So I am 32 years old. I am married to my wife, Karina. I have 3 children, 2 of them which I have adopted, one when he was 8 and the other one when she was 1. And then I have my 4-year-old son, which is the terror of the house, but I love him to death. Somebody told me one time that I'm not the stepfather, I'm just the father who stepped up. And that's kind of how I like to look at it. Those kids helped me grow and become who I am, really. And I'm gonna start to tear up as I talk about them. So I did grow up in Portugal until I was 5. I was raised by my grandmother. She did pass away when we went to Portugal from cancer. But I was raised by her. I came here after my parents followed the American dream and lived in Newark, where I still live because I can't get away from Newark. That's kind of been the backbone. That's kind of designed who I was, regardless of what everybody thinks. But I do live in the Ironbound section though now, so stepped up a little bit. But I've spent 12 years working in retail for Best Buy specifically. I did every role you could possibly imagine, and my latest role was a field manager where I managed services for New Jersey, Philadelphia, and Delaware. But prior to that, I was a GM at our local stores here in Union County, and I supported some of the stores like Woodland Park and Jersey City in my prior roles. And I made the big change from retail. I don't know what everybody thinks about retail, but even my loan officer couldn't believe how much we make. You have the potential of making a lot of money, but I never found myself more unhappy in my life than I could have at that point. It wasn't the job. The company was great. They offered me opportunities that nobody else would have offered me. I graduated high school and that's it. I hit the workforce. I didn't care too much about college. It wasn't my thing. But I will tell you that I'm probably married to the most supportive person I've ever met in my life. So.
You're not the only one to cry, don't worry. That's the hardest.
I'm trying to be the only one that doesn't cry. Like, I got Harry staring at me like, bro, don't cry. Men with beard don't cry.
Real men cry, man.
No, in all truthfulness, regardless of whatever I've done in my life, whether good decisions or bad decisions, my wife's always stood on my side. And when I decided that I was going to make the transition into real estate, obviously I go from making X, Y, and Z. This is what I have coming in to making 0. That's a big change. So, and she's still supportive. She's very open-minded, and she thinks a lot more positive than I do at times. So it really helps me. It really helps the fact that I'm married to her. Outside of work, I do catechize for a church in Newark. So we focus on rejuvenating adult faith is really, I guess, the way I can kind of describe it. But it's not just for adults; it is for youth, just to kind of help them grow up and understand, who they really can rely on. I know that at the end of the day, I thank God for everything, me being here, me getting through the events in my past. So, and putting my wife in front of me. I did meet my wife at Best Buy. So we actually sat back to back, chair to chair, in a new position that they had launched at the time. This was years ago, and I guess that's all she wrote at that point. She got me. She was definitely the aggressor. And she played her cards right. No, I hope one day you guys get to meet her. Honestly, my wife's a bundle.
Is she real?
She is real, man. Be careful, because she can be feisty, but with love. And I think that's it. I don't think there's really much more about me, honestly. I went to Portugal for the first time in 16 years, 2 years ago. and I got to visit my grandparents. I got to ride a motorcycle. My son got to ride a motorcycle. I'm definitely going to use the idea of having my kids somewhere on the back of this or underneath my shirt where I can just go like this while I'm doing my listing presentation. Right? Yeah. But yes, I do have tattoos, which symbolize my kids, which is the Sagittarius and the Capricorn, and my wife's the Libra, which is on the forearm. And I thought it was a great concept just to pay tribute to them for everything that they mean to me. And if you have to put something on your body, you might as well do something that's going to be forever. So I don't think they're going anywhere. And then I made the dumbest decision. I got my last name here on this forearm because I was the last boy in the family. Well, guess what? I have a son. So that's changed a little bit. And then I have the cross that sits on the Portugal emblem on their jersey, on their chest. I have it here on my arm. And I have aspirations to get a chest design. I have aspirations to get a chest design, which would actually be the lion with the lamb sitting in the middle. We call my son Little Lamb. His name is Liam. Like Conor McGregor, except it'll just be with the crown with culture state. No, but it was a great picture that I saw, and it did say the Lamb of God, and it showed lamb there. So that's kind of my next name. I don't know. I saw a little bit of myself, honestly, in there. It was a little bit of everything. Let me see one of those. I definitely saw I wasn't born in the U.S., so I'm a little bit like Earl. But I definitely saw the excuses, that at times trying to figure out a way to blame everybody else for the decisions that I make. I've also seen myself kind of just hesitate on making a decision in my life. Very similar to what Eric was saying, I'm very passionate about real estate. I love it, but I was very concerned about leaving X, Y, and Z job to do anything else just because of the fear of failing. So I can definitely see a little bit of me and everything. Well, I don't see a lot of Earl in me, to be honest with you. I will see a lot of Earl in me, but I don't see it now. I do have good credit. Well, I had great credit, but a lot of it's going on credit cards right now. So I have good credit right now. And I wasn't born in the U.S., so me and Earl is slightly alike.
How about fear?
I'm terrified of failing. It's my biggest fear. Failing, rejection. I doubt, and I think that's part of the issue, is that I doubt what I know and what I can do. And then I just I'd rather just give somebody else, I kind of just step aside kind of approach.
So how do you get through that? Do you rely on your higher power?
At times I do. If you want me to be really honest with you, at times I do. Yeah. No, at times I do, and at times I'm like everybody else that I find myself talking to. Sometimes is I doubt. Because I think that the first time that I ever joined the church, the first thing I said is I have a hard time believing in God because I can't see God. If He's not tangible to me, then it's kind of like, it's not that He doesn't exist, but He's probably not my first resource. And I've always found that I'll look at a lot of situations, and that's where I find myself placing blame, right? So I find myself in situations that I blame God, I blame my kids, I blame my wife, I blame my mother, my dad. Instead of just accepting for what the hell I've done, whatever that decision might have been. I think that I need to be a little bit more reliant on the simple fact that God has a plan for me, and I can pray that is our plans align. And if not, then let His will do His thing. But at the same time, I focus on trying to surround myself with people with the same energy, with the same focus, to be honest with you. Because at times I get down, especially in this business, you get down after doing things for a while and nothing happening, so it makes you feel like you did absolutely nothing. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who are energetic and tend to be mostly positive, even on those days that you're down, it'll pick you up. Versus surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded and have the same struggles, where you can find yourself both in a bad position, and then that's kind of how it tends to take a turn. So, I'm really positive where my career is going to go with real estate. I doubt it now, but I know I have what it takes inside of me, and I just have to stay consistent, and that's about it. No questions, right?
Any questions, guys? I'm sure somebody.
I have a question. So thanks for sharing.
I
wanted to say something real quick. Can you tell us a little bit more about the adoption? So you adopted 2 of your children, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about that?
Well, it was kind of just through marriage. That's kind of how that always transitioned. Well, when I met my wife, she had Victor, her Ariel is what we call him. And then she had Muñe, which is what we call her, but her real name is Lisette. They were 8 and 1, and she used she slightly used them to kind of see if she was gonna like me or not, kind of thing, right? Because it was really based on how they felt. But I was young, so I was still a kid, so relating to kids was easy. But no, I fell in love with them, honestly. And honestly, they're great kids. Every time I say I have a 16-year-old and I have an 11-year-old, everybody gives me the wide eye look like, oh man, you got issues. No, I have very little issues, thankfully. Because if there were anything like me, I'd be in trouble. So they are verbally adopted because we don't really know where either parents are. But they're my kids. It is what it is at this point. It's been long enough. Even though they're both taller than me, the 16-year-old is. The 16-year-old is about 5'10", 220. Plays lacrosse. And
the movie Buddy the Elf. Like father the elf.
And my daughter is not taller than me yet. She's 11. She's 11. She is, though, the same height as my wife. They wear the same size shoes. She's about 5 feet. And she has to be probably the most loving person I've ever met. Like, she is, dude, she.
Little girl. I think when you're having those rough days and second guessing, you should think about that little girl.
Yeah.
And that'll keep you pushing. Definitely.
Yeah, she's a bundle of joy, man. I'm telling you, there's nothing that can get that girl down. So she's always grateful to be around. And then you have my 4-year-old, which is up to my waist. This is crazy. This is gonna be ridiculous, man.
Yes.
But he's very similar to myself and my wife. He's very energetic. If you guys ever watched the movie Couples Retreat, I think it was Couples Retreat. No, he's not pooping in the toilet. That's in the thing. I think it was Couples Retreat where the kid just jumps off like his bunk bed and just lands on the floor and he's all excited about it. Well, that's my son. And I mean that literally because he did that and he reacted the same way. He's like, whoa, and he wanted to go do it again. But again, because I wasn't at the birth of either of the other two, I think my son was part of the biggest transition for me. When they're born, you get to hold them for you to have children. You get that feeling where, nothing can really, actually, to be honest with you, I cried. But I didn't cry because he was born. I'll tell you exactly why I cried. I cried when my son, I cried when my son was born because I was so scared of what the world was going to do to him. So he's fine. Yeah, man. People are in trouble. Yeah, people are in trouble. But yeah, I hope I answered the question.
I was just interested in your experience, especially when younger, growing up in Newark, come from Portugal, like your early childhood growing up in Newark.
Yeah, that was exciting. I was the only white kid on the block. I went to South Street School, which is right by Pennington Court, and it wasn't bad. There are some people that are just not gonna vibe with you, I guess, and that is what it is. And I grew up fighting most of the time, but that's okay. And again, you know, it's made me who I am. You know, I've grown to love the neighborhood where I live, and you see it slowly changing, but at the same time you see people getting better. But then you still see people. The reality is that when you live in a place like that, you see the world for what it is, and that's what it does to people. If you don't rely on the right people, or if you don't rely on the right higher power, like Harry keeps saying, you know, that's the reality, and that's when people. But at the same time, it's not like. I think that's a big piece of why I want to be so financially stable, is because I don't want to find myself in that position. I don't want to put my kids in that position. But at the same time, you know, we just went to an event, and he spent a good amount of time talking about how now that he's made all this money, he's going to figure out a way that he can help all these people. Well, I want to be able to do that too. And right now I can't. And I wasn't going to be able to do it in retail, because retail will always tell you how much you're worth. And that's kind of what you take home. So, you know, that's a big piece of me being able to financially move around as much as I want and do what I want, because to help people is a big thing. That's an option that you have. You don't have to do it, but, you know, it'd be great if you can. So when you come from that background or from those neighborhoods, you kind of understand where people come from, and it kind of builds who you are. You don't take anything for granted.
All right, very nice. I don't have a question, but I have an acknowledgement. I appreciate you getting up there, being really vulnerable, and just speaking from your heart. I always have respect for you as far as your mindset, or you're positive. I think you're a hustler. I think you're super intelligent. But to get up there and hear you speak about your family, I connected with you a lot more and have even a lot more respect than what I originally had, you know? You get up there and we're all humans, we all have our thing, we all have our family, what's important to us. And I earned a lot of respect. I didn't know a lot of that stuff, you know, when you're, as far as being a father and stuff like that. I did not know that you adopted Buddy the elf that's taller than you. No, but all jokes aside, man, I really respect you even more. I think you're a great guy, bro. And I think that when you go on listing appointments, you show that, they're gonna sign on the spot, man. That's all you have to deliver is who you are. You don't have to change anything up. You need to have a foundation from Tom and bring who you are across. You're gonna get listings every single time. I think you're a great guy, and you did a great job. Thank you for sharing.
I appreciate it, man. That's it. That wasn't too bad.